Hi all. In this video, we're gonna see how to drive in Indian roads. I was driving in Singapore for a while, like 3 years, and then I moved to India, and I started driving, and I had some difficulties in understanding how the traffic works here. I mean, most people don't follow the rules. There is a reason for that. Um, the way Indian drivers drive might look chaotic and dangerous, but there are certain practices in Indian roads that makes driving in India bearable. Once you understand it, everything will make sense. I specifically live in Tamil Nadu, but the following content may be applicable throughout the India. So there are a few things um, that I want to say before getting into the content. And that is, you have to understand that the following things are true and you should keep this in mind. Don't expect everyone to know the rules. Nobody knows the rules here. They drive as they please. So keep in mind, most of them, at least most of them, don't know the rules. The second thing is, bigger the vehicle, it deserves more respect in terms of um, I would I would tell you why later on in the video. And then the third thing is, honking is for communication. Honking is for communication. In other countries, if you honk, people get irritated, but in India, honking is a way of communication. I will go through this later in detail. Okay, so let us get into the content. So the few things I noticed while driving here is, um, at first, driving in India can be scary. Indian drivers mostly ignore road rules, or they are not aware of the road rules, and because of this, first thing, you have to be patient. While you should have the patience to drive in Indian roads, you can't be rushing. I mean, this is applicable to any roads, even in other countries. When you are driving, you shouldn't be like restless, or you shouldn't be like racing. In the sense, you have to go to a destination. You shouldn't think about the destination or time you have to reach there, but instead you have to follow the traffic and make sure that you have peace of mind while driving. You shouldn't be like anxious while driving to get to the place, or something similar to that. You shouldn't be anxious about. And another thing you have to keep in mind is, you'll come across various things, various confrontation, but try to avoid that. Like, don't show fingers, or don't yell at people. If you find someone making mistake, just ignore it, move along, don't escalate the things. That is for your peace of mind, and it will keep you cool for the rest of the journey. So this applies to everywhere, not just in India. And especially in India, the most important thing is horn. So you make sure it works. So without that, it's a bit difficult to drive here. So make sure your horn works. Okay, so another thing to keep in mind is, so in India, the road is shared by various people, various types of mode of transportation. Example, motorist, bicycles, even pedestrians, and animals. I mean, uh, this is the reality. I mean, you can't avoid while driving, so you have to expect all these things. Due to this nature of the traffic, it is quite different driving in here than compared to any other country. So keep this in mind. Okay, I want to specifically talk about two lanes road, with respect to oncoming traffic in two lane roads. So when you are driving in a two lane road, don't expect the opposite traffic to just be within their lane. Sometimes it is not possible because of three reasons. I found three reasons. It could be many other reasons, but you have to understand they may not be able to keep their vehicle within their lane. First reason is there might be a two-wheeler in front of the vehicle. For example, bus or lorry or any car. They will be trying to overtake the slower two-wheelers. So mostly it is the reason why they don't stick to their lane. They are one of once I mean they will be slightly into your lane. So in that so the so the next thing is if it is a the second thing why they don't want to be within their lane is um, if it is a big vehicle, for example, bus or a lorry, if you see the Indian roads, they usually have trees on the side of the road. So what usually they do is they try to avoid the branches. Sometimes the branch might be uh, too low, so lorries or bus they will try to avoid it, and the right thing to do is slow down and you know give way to the oncoming traffic. But the thing here is they don't slow down. They will think that you will understand that he has to come into your lane because of the branches or any other issues. So he will assume that you would understand and you will give way for the oncoming traffic. And there's one more reason why they don't want to just be in their lane. Sometimes Indian roads on the sides they're not even. Sometimes during the monsoon, it erodes and creates like pit and things like that. So sometimes they don't want to get into that, so they will try to avoid, and because of that, they will come into your lane. So you have to understand that lane marking sometimes you shouldn't be expecting the oncoming vehicle to strictly follow the lane markings. They may not, so be aware of that. If you might ask, what do I do if that happens? You obviously you don't like confront that. Instead, you have to give him the space, let him go, and yeah, I think you would, if you are driving a car, you would have space on your left side, so you just try to move to your left and give the way for the oncoming traffic. So there are some unofficial road rules. I'm gonna talk about that. First thing is mutual understanding. Just before I said, the oncoming traffic will assume that you will understand his way of driving. Um, uh, that is the mutual understanding. So there are a few things I want to share. What 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 it means by mutual understanding. What the other driver will assume you should know. First thing is he will assume that you will only take the space that is required by your vehicle width. So you are not going to hog up the entire lane of your space. If your vehicle is small, you should just take uh, what is required for your vehicle. If the oncoming vehicle is quite large, like bus or lorry, he will think that you would have to move to your left if there is no space. So that's one thing. And then so it is applicable to you also. For example, um, if you need more space on the right side, um, for example, you have to overtake a two-wheeler, so you have to move across the lane to overtake the two-wheeler. So in that situation, if you see a vehicle coming oncoming traffic in the oncoming traffic, you have to use your lights to flash him so that he will understand that you are overtaking, and then he will try to give you space. Make sure that he has space. Don't don't like, for example, if he can't give you space, don't overtake. I mean, slow down and then take your time, and then when you have enough space and overtake. uh, okay, so now I'm coming to the point of use of horn. why why we use horn. First thing you have to understand, horn is used to communicate, um, and people don't get irritated, they don't mind being honked, but you have to be moderate, you can't be crazy honking. You just it's a way of communication, so you have to be moderate. So what is why we need uh, when is the situation you have to use horn. You have so the reason, because most motorists don't use their side mirrors. Some of the motorcycles don't even have side mirrors, so he won't know what's coming behind, so he will hog up the lane. So in that situation, you have to honk him, make sure he gives you a space, enough space to overtake. And while honking, don't go too close and honk, it might scare him. So try to be in a distance 4 or 5 car distance, and then honk. And then when you go nearer a bit, you can honk. If he doesn't move, eventually he will move, but give him enough time before you honk, so that he moves, and then you can overtake. And so one more thing is, not only motorists share the road, people also walk. So when people are walking, they may not see what's coming behind. This happens very often, and sometimes they walk too far to the right and blocking your way. So in that situation, you have to honk them so that they go. And the same thing applies. You have to give them time to move. You can't be rushing them because they are walking, so they have to take their time to move. And the another place where you have to use honking is, uh, let's say you are driving in a main road and you are trying to enter a side road, like something like a T-junction, your T intersection, and you are entering a side road. uh, you have to honk while before you are entering the side road, so that any motorcycle or pedestrian would know that a vehicle is coming in. And the same goes to when you are coming out of a side road trying to merge into the main road. You have to honk and see. Obviously you're going to stop and check the traffic, but you have to honk so that people are aware of your vehicle. So I want to move on to things like that are unexpected. There are few things that are unexpected. You can't expect them. It will it will be sudden, and then you have to be prepared for that. Um, you can see there are a number of speed bumps, or we call it a speed breaker. Some of the speed breaker might have a signboard saying that there is a speed breaker or speed bumps ahead of you, but some they don't have. The problem with that is, you won't know whether there is a speed breaker, and then you'll be like going fast. Uh, it's gonna you know affect your axles or something like that. So you have to like look ahead and see if there is a speed bump or not. Most of the speed bumps are painted white, at least where I am at least in Tamil Nadu it is painted, and maybe you can see it, and most probably you can see it. And second unexpected thing is, when you are driving in a main road, um, motorists, especially motorists, they will come emerge from side roads without stopping, without checking for any traffic on the main road. So that is one issue, so you have to keep an eye on that, and try not to go on the left too far to the left when you're driving into a busy area or a residential area, or if you see a side road, try to just keep on your right side. And also some you have to look for potholes. you can see the road, most part it will be good, and suddenly you'll see a pothole. So you have to look out for that. And last unexpected thing is animal crossing the road. Example, goats, cow, chicken, and dog. You might encounter goats and dogs frequently. Goats are livestock, so if you hit any of the goats, you might need to pay the owner. If that happens, owner may try to extort you money. So try to be calm and ask them how much it is and negotiate, and try to move on from the place as quick as possible after paying. Um, and the second thing is dogs. Most of the dogs are street dogs. Usually people don't care if you hit them, but try to avoid hitting them. I mean, they are also living beings, you don't want to hit them. And chickens, usually chickens don't get hit, but try to look out for chicken. If there is any chicken, just try to avoid that. So how to avoid these unexpected things? Like I said before, try to slow down while crossing busy areas. These are usually residential and some commercial areas, so you have to slow down. uh, when you're passing through these residential and commercial area, if there is no oncoming traffic, drive with space on your left side. That means leave some space on your left side, try to be on your right side more, so that if anything unexpected like a motorist coming outside, emerging from a side road, you won't be hitting him. You will have enough time to brake, or he has enough time to brake. So yeah, you have to drive on the middle of the road, or I wouldn't say middle, but more to the right. This is not applicable when there is oncoming traffic like bus or lorry or any car, anything. So if that happens, you have to slow down and try to be careful in the busy areas. Okay, so the last thing I would like to talk about is overtaking buses and lorries. Usually, if you are driving a car, bus and lorry drivers knows that they have to give you space to overtake. So how do you do that? First thing, check if there is any oncoming traffic, if any uh, pedestrian is there or bystanders are there. If everything is clear, then just honk him. And one more thing, you have to make sure you have enough space uh, that your car can overtake. And then you honk the driver. He would sometimes he will give you a hand signal, or sometimes he will just move to the left. Then utilize that time and then overtake the vehicle. So I guess um, I covered most of the basic things. I think if you know all these things, you will be prepared to drive in Indian roads. Um, if I find anything else, I will make another video. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.